I know that you might think that self-doubt is truly self-doubt, but what it actually is doubt in the divine. So when we are doubting ourselves, it is because we do not believe truly in the love of the divine, and that the divine will provide for all of our needs, that the divine will lead us in the right direction, whatever it happens to be. Any self-doubt is not doubt of self. It is doubt of the divine's love. So how can we overcome this? And I'm going to explain this a little farther. So you might say, well, no, I don't doubt in the divine. I believe the divine can do all kinds of wonderful things for me, but I doubt in my own ability. I doubt in whatever it happens to be about yourself. Okay, so think about this. When you are created by this divine loving intelligence that's perfect, it's perfect love. You are saying that by doubting yourself, that love is actually not perfect. Like, I mean, it can do all these other perfect things, but it's not making me perfect. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that you're perfect, but what I'm saying is that the divine is perfect, and the only reason that you're not, or that you believe that you're not, is because you truly don't know that love of the divine and its perfection that is constantly done moment by moment within you, unless you resist it or reject it. So let's go into this. So when you are doubting yourself, so let's say that you're doubting yourself in some area that you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to accomplish this thing or that thing. And so you start, crapping on yourself. Well, what happens over this period of time from when you go from the idea of I need to do this, I want to do this, to then all of a sudden the doubt creeping in of, but I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. So what has happened is you have taken a divinely inspired thought, something that's uplifting or wonderful, and you had it for a reason, right? So if you are feeling passionately about something, there's a reason why. But what we do then, as human beings, which we all are, myself included, right? We're all humans. I mean, some of us are probably aliens. I don't really, whatever. Different topic. So when we take that and we think, okay, I need to do this thing, but then the doubts start to creep in. So just notice what that's like. So when you I guarantee this has happened to you. So you very first get an idea, you're like, oh, I should do that. And then some of us latch onto those ideas and we're like, yep, I'm doing it. And then you follow through. And then you do it. Well, some of us get these ideas and we're like, yeah, I want to do it. And then we wake up the next day and we're like, yeah, but, should we do it? And then the next day, we feel maybe a little bit less like we should do it, even though we really wanted to and we were really passionate about it when we first thought about it. But then we just start to let that doubt creep in. And then we actually actively begin talking ourselves out of it. Right, because we don't want to leave that comfort zone that we're in. That might shake things up for us, right? Ugh, who wants that? So what we're then doing is talking ourselves out of something that we're passionate about, right? So why do we do this? Well, we do this based on our past traumas, based on our past failures, which there's no such thing as failure. In my mind, because the reason why those things failed was, first of all, was because you learned a ton from it. So next time when you're actually pursuing the correct thing, you're gonna have learned a lot. Like, okay, well, this is what I should do for this, and you're gonna get some good ideas. But what happens is that we take those past perceivable failures, which failed for a reason because that wasn't the thing. And then we start to apply that into our lives today. And so this happens in all areas of our lives. So we can have failure implied in career or work, or maybe some passionate pursuit that you have, relationships, all kinds of different things. And so if we have in the past deemed ourselves as a failure in some particular avenue, we are doomed to repeat it in the past. We're doomed to repeat our past traumas again and again and again until we heal them. What does it mean to heal them? It means to look back on your life and truly, deeply be thankful for all the lessons and all the hard things that you went through, because they made you stronger. They made you who you are. They helped you to figure out what you want and what it is that you don't want. So if you look at all of the failures that you had, let's go to relationships, because that is easy. In my mind, anyways. So if you look at the past relationships that failed, maybe there's several that are significant, maybe there's one. And if you look at that and you think, oh, like I'm a failure because, it didn't pan out, or whatever happens to be. When you look at it and you perceive it as something that is negative, perhaps you're still holding resentment towards people in your past. Perhaps they're still a part of your life, and so you're having to deal with them, and you're like, I don't want to, bring on husband number whatever, or, and have to deal with this again, because I'm still having to deal with these people from the past, these failures that I had in the past. Well, if this is the case, first of all, you're doing it wrong. So when you move on from the past, the very first thing that you need to do is to be thankful for the bad stuff that happened. I know that this sucks. I love it now, actually, but it sucks at the time. So I had to be thankful for back to being a teenager. I had to be thankful for that abusive boyfriend that I had. So thankful. Why was I thankful? Well, I got to raise my son on my own for the first 4 or 5 years of his life. I got to become a much stronger person. I mean, that happens when you're 16 years old and you're not getting a penny from anyone and you're having to support a child on your own. It makes you a really strong person. So I'm thankful for him being abusive. I wouldn't have had that experience in my life. I wouldn't have had to trust in the divine over those years when it's like, oh man, I need some rent money. Well, I know all I got to do is pray and I'm going to get it. And that is exactly what would happen. Oh, I got to tell you guys this story. Well, this popped into my head. So this is back when I was probably 17, maybe 18, something like that. Anyways, my son was really young. We're living down in Joplin, Missouri. 20 years ago, I lived there for 1.5 years. And I remember one night going to sleep, and I had heard that God talks to people. I'd heard that people audibly could hear God. I'm air quoting because I believe in the divine, the voice of God. And so I was like, what? I want to hear this, because I'd had really cool spiritual experience happen in my life, but I had never audibly heard the voice of God. So I'm going to bed that night, and the next morning, and this is so me, I go to sleep at night and I pray. I'm like, I want to hear your voice. That was it. It was like let me hear it. I want you to wake me up, and if you wake me up in the morning, I'll go to church. This was my threat to God of you want me to go to church? Well, you better wake me up. So anyways, I got woken up in the morning by my name being called. I hear Michelle, and I'm like, what? I wake up and I get out of my bed and I look out my door and down the hall to see if somebody walked in my front door, because somebody said my name, loud, audible. Woke up. Was anybody there? No. I had asked to hear the voice of God, and I heard it, and it was loud, and it was clear, and it was peaceful, and it was present. It was there. It was in my room. Anyways, did I go to church? No. But anyways, back to what we were talking about before. So if you have, let's say, a failed relationship, like I did back as being a teenager, so he was really super abusive, very physically abusive and very mentally abusive. Frick, I remember walking through, we were in this grocery store. This is just an example, whatever. We're walking through this grocery store, and there was, the firefighters calendar. They're everywhere. Thankful for those. Anyways, it was there hanging on some basket of food or whatever. And I glance at it. I don't even actually know if I glanced at it. I just know that it was there. And then that abusive boyfriend at the time is like giving me these dirty looks and giving me like, oh, the what for? Because I must have glanced at this calendar or whatever. And I'm like, oh man, like, ugh, gross. Jealousy it's disgusting. It's gross. So ugly. Anyways, that is not an example of the abuse, but this was an example of the constant. If he wasn't physically harming me, he was emotionally screwing with my head. And that was just like a little example of you couldn't even go to the grocery store. Like, had I made eye contact with another man, you know what, possibly even a woman, he would have lost it on me. Like, just so jealous. It was disgusting. Another time I remember him locking me in his house, and I was very pregnant at this time, locking me in his house, wouldn't let me leave, hid my keys. I don't even remember how I got out of there. There was many situations where I had to like escape. I kind of told you guys about what happened right before I had my son, and he was, beating me in his car, and then I ran away. I never finished that story. I'm probably not going to finish that story because it goes into great detail of how I actually escaped. And I had to plot it out. I had to plan actually physically getting away from him. This is how dangerous this man was. So once I left that, I remember being upset, not that he wasn't there, but upset that he might come back, because I was so protective of my child that I just didn't want him anywhere near me, anywhere at all. And I wasn't necessarily even angry. Even thinking about it now, I was just more in protective mode. But I learned a lot from that. And so I remember, dating after that a little bit, and going out with some guy, and he kind of same thing, low self-esteem. We go and we're like dancing, and he's like, oh yeah, you'd probably rather be dancing with somebody else, and blah blah blah, and like the insecure type of talk. And I was like, ugh, immediately gone. I'm not putting up with this ever again, because insecurity is something you do not want to have to deal with. Somebody else's low self-esteem, not happening. So I learned a ton, and I didn't accept that. I mean, I did in my future with my future husband, but that hadn't presented itself to me at that point. I hadn't realized it yet. So anyways, I'm getting a little bit off track here, but forgiving him and learning what I learned from it. So being a 16-year-old that then had a baby, so I was young 16 too, like I was 15 when I was pregnant. So being young, man, I became strong real quick. I grew up real quick. I figured things out real quick. And I did this out of necessity and out of the fact that I didn't have a man to help me with anything, which is not much has changed. So through that, I was very thankful. I was very, very thankful. And did the patterns repeat in the future? Somewhat, yes, they did. I was completely unaware of patterns of any of this kind of thing until I started doing the work that I'm doing. So it's only been like 10 years that I became aware of, like, oh, look at all these people are coming in. Oh, you're on your third abusive relationship. Interesting. Okay, this is what's happening here. And seeing all of these patterns, and that they would all stem back from unhealed trauma in the past, as in my father. When you're not loved by a man properly, and you grow, or a woman, whatever, it depends who's listening here. When you're younger, you will repeat those patterns again there in the future, until you become thankful for them and learn the lessons that you needed to learn from them. So I learned how to become very strong, very independent. and how to essentially, create what I needed within my own self. Learned a lot. So then once we learn these things, then we don't need to repeat these patterns in the future. And so then when we recognize it, when we see that something is happening again in the future, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm not being valued, I'm not this, I'm, by whatever particular person, are you going to accept that in your life? Absolutely not. Unless you haven't learned the lesson, then yeah, you definitely are going to accept that in your life. So when we heal our past trauma and we become thankful for every facet, then we really can truly set ourselves free. So I'm going to tell you guys something else that will be shocking if you don't know me. Actually, even if you do, because I haven't really told anybody this. So when I was 15, I believe, maybe I was 14, I was raped. And I remember I had gone out to this little town, and I used to go out there on weekends, a couple hours out of the city, and I would go and I would hang out with my one friend. And I loved going out there, and I went out there all the time. And then that incident happened one time when I was out there. And what's really interesting about that, this is interesting, Kate. I'm going to go on like 7 different tangents here. So I had not, thought of this in many, many years. I just hadn't thought of it in a long time. And then thought of it maybe like 5 years ago, and was like, you know what? I wonder what that dude is doing, because he was a church pastor's son. That I did remember. So I was like, I'm going to look this dude up on Facebook. So I look him up on Facebook. It makes me laugh now. So the topic, I don't know if he does podcasts, or I don't even exactly remember, but maybe it was a video that he had posted, and he's talking. Either way, it's his voice or his comment or his something. I don't exactly remember, but he is talking about treating women, with respect and blah blah blah, and not crossing their boundaries, like no means no kind of thing, to which I found laughable and interesting, considering what he had done to me, and considering that he just came to mind, and I thought, oh, I want to look him up. I don't even know why I thought to look him up. And then that happened to be the very top post on his Facebook page. So seeing that now, we talk about, myself included, we talk about the things that are unhealed within us, and the things that we are unaware of. We project them on other people. So him being like, you got to treat women with respect, and no means no, and blah, 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 blah. Well, it's because he has not acknowledged this in himself. He's unaware of it. And so he's projecting his stuff on other people, which everybody does this. Everybody does this. Whatever you're talking about, whatever you're accusing someone else of, it's you. And if it was not you, it wouldn't bother you. So if it bothers you, it's because it's you. If it doesn't bother you, maybe not. But if it bothers you, it's because it's you. You are unaware of some part of yourself that is doing exactly what it is that you are accusing that person of doing. Anyways, I don't know where we were going with this. So, talking about healing past trauma. So, I look at all of these different situations that I have been through. Okay, so raped at 15, have a baby at 16, become a drug addict when maybe 18, alcoholic 19, all of these things, that I went through. And I could look back on those things and I could be a victim because, I wasn't loved properly when I was a child, or whatever it happens to be. But what good is that going to do anybody? It's not going to do anybody any good. It's not going to do myself any good. And being a victim of anything, benefits you not at all. And so I can honestly say, being through those things that I've been through, I am not a victim of any of them. I am so much stronger because of everything that I've been through. And so I know at this point in my life, which things are really rapidly changing here in my life, I know that I can get through anything because I've been there, done that. And the divine has always provided for me. I know, and I knew, and have always believed that I was so loved. I felt so special, so loved by the divine, even when I was a really little kid. Because I remember I would pray for things and they would just immediately happen. And my sisters recognized this and they'd be like, hey, can you pray for this thing so it'll happen? Because we know when you pray for things, it happens. And it was like, yep. And so I would, and it would happen. So I always knew that I was cared for. But this is why. It was because of my belief. I had been told that when you believe and you ask for something, that's it. You get it. And so because I believed it so strongly and thought, well, why would this not apply to me? Why would this not happen? That was not even a question in my mind. Of course it would happen. Of course. So I would pray for things and they would just happen. I had a belief that I was really lucky at card games. And so I would win all the time. And I would expect it. And I used to believe it was because God loved me more. But I see now it was all because of my beliefs. Like, I understand why. It wasn't because I was loved more than anybody else, because I'm not. We are all loved completely equally. You, me, all of us. It's exactly equal. And it doesn't matter what kind of horrible things that you've done, what kind of guilt that it doesn't matter any of the stuff and any of the things. You're loved exactly the same. But when we hold our past and we shame ourselves for it, and we hold on to resentments, and we hold on to anger because of situations, and by doing this make ourselves victims of those things, or make other people victims of us, when we do those things, that is low frequency that we're holding within us, and we will then manifest and create more things in our life that are of low frequency. But when we can look back on our life and not hold those things within us and hold a high frequency, meaning I'm not holding any anger, I'm not holding any resentment, I'm not doing things to people that are negative, that are going to come back and harm me. When you're putting out the good and when you're putting yourself in that high frequency, because you've healed and cleansed your past, good and wonderful things are going to happen to you in the future, and you're not going to repeat those same things. But when you look back and you play the victim role, you're going to repeat those things. It's inevitable because you have not learned the lessons from it yet. Now, if you haven't done subconscious healing work, I understand it is very difficult. Unless you have done subconscious healing work, it is very difficult to let go of those resentments and those angers and that victim mentality and that kind of thing. It's very difficult to do. Well, which is why I would highly recommend the Mental Cleanse series, as I always do, because it's going to help you to cleanse away that subconscious trauma from your mind. Take the time, and if you don't have the time, make the time. Do something, invest in yourself. And by investing, I'm saying this course, these videos online are totally free. Of course, you can work with me a couple of times and get massive results, but you can also do all those videos. There's 39 of them, and you don't have to pay a penny for them because I made them for you out of love, the Mental Cleanse series, for free. So this is when we heal the past, but then we're not going to repeat it. So let's say that somebody's a drug addict. Well, there's a reason why. And how I would figure that out is I would follow that craving for that drug that they have within them. Once I've got them in a subconscious state, I would have them follow that feeling back to when it began. Where did it come from? I guarantee you, it was not the first time that they did drugs. No, it came back to some traumatic thing that happened in somebody's life. This is where it comes from. And we are trying to hide that traumatic thing within us because we don't know how to heal it, we don't know how to deal with it, we don't know what to do about it, and so it manifests within our body as a craving. or as an emotion, or as an addiction. And so if you have some kind of addiction, let's say that you drink every day, let's say that you smoke every day, let's say whatever it is, these are craving. Let's say you're addicted to food, whatever it is, or you have some kind of physical ailment, some kind of physical thing going on in your body. This is your body telling you that there's something within you that needs to be healed. There is some trauma attached to it, and there is some trauma that needs some healing every time, every single time. 100% of the time. Always, always, always. I don't care the physical ailment. I don't care if you drop something and you injured yourself in this way or how it came about. That is not why it is present. Our body is just a vehicle. We are the energy that underlies it. So there may have been some incident that happened that caused that injury, but that injury was only occurred because there is some type of emotional past trauma that is trying to get your attention, or some kind of current belief, and it's trying to get your attention. There's something that needs to change in the way that you're thinking. This is why it's happening. So when we can look back on our past and truly, and I mean truly, actually truly be grateful and thankful for every single experience, including all the perceivably negative ones, because of the things that you've gained and the things that you've learned from them, you will have then set yourself free. You will then no longer be holding any of those low frequencies within your energetic system. You'll be able to manifest just like that. This is how I can get by. This is how I get by. When there's something that I need, I literally manifest it. I say, hey, divine, I need this, and it is delivered to me typically within hours. I'm never waiting. I've never had to wait. If there's something that I need, it will be provided for me. Why? Because I believe in the love of the divine. I have had proof of it my whole life, that when you believe, you get it. And because that belief in the love that exists, the belief in the love is pure. The love is perfect. It wants to provide for every single need that I have. So if I need something, whatever it happens to be, I will get it. Just like that. And I don't need another person. I don't need someone else. I don't need anybody to do nothing. The divine will give it to me. And it may come through another person, calling me up. Hey, I need some sessions. Excellent. It may come through. Who knows? Who knows by what means it will come to me? I love that it's a surprise and that I don't know how it's going to come to me. So I made a request to the divine this morning. I'll let you guys know when that pans out and what it is that how it comes to me, what it is that I want. But the reason why this happens for me is because I do not doubt. And it is because I do not doubt in the love of the divine. Now, I am imperfect. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get there, as I hope you are too, trying to find that perfection. Because when I think of perfection, mine is all about thinking. Is my thinking in alignment with divine love? And I want my thoughts and my words and my actions to always be in alignment with divine love. But I will notice sometimes it's really easy to slip back into the environment, back into the world, back into the earth, and to not have that thinking and those speaking words and those actions necessarily be perfect. But I'm working on it. But I'm also not going to crap on myself for not being perfect, because that in itself is a low vibrational frequency. Here's one thing I'm not going to do. I'm not going to doubt in myself, because that would be doubting in the divine. And I'm never going to doubt in the divine, because I know that the divine is perfect, pure love, and will provide and will give me anything that I want and anything that I need at any time that I want and any time that I need it. And I know this, and I do not doubt it. And I was created as you were created by this divine pure love. And therefore, I am perfect. Everybody's perfect. They're perfectly human. Now, does this mean that our actions are always in alignment with that divine love? No, it does not. However, I do know that when I look back at my life, it was those struggles, those difficult relationships, those incidents and things that I went through that made me who I am today, made me stronger, and made me very compassionate towards anyone who comes to me. So I, having been a former coke addict, I understand now. So if when I meet a drug addict who is coming to me, do I doubt that they will be healed? No, I do not. Because I do not doubt in the love of the divine. And because I myself have gone through it and overcome it, and it is not a thing. Never would I ever go back to that. I would never go back. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. I've healed it. So I know that because I can do this within myself, of course, other people can do this. And so I look back, okay, you come to me, you need help because you went through some traumatic rape incident. Can I help you? Absolutely, I can. Did you have a horrible father? Can I help you? Absolutely, I can. Oh, you've been through lots of abusive relationships? Can I help you? Absolutely, I can. You're an alcoholic? Oh, perfect. Can I help you? Yes, absolutely, I can. Why? Because I've been there, done that, healed from it. I'm thankful for every little bit of it because it made me who I am. It made me so much stronger. It made me so much more powerful. And ultimately, it led to enlightenment. So any of these low things, these low frequency things that you go through, these traumatic relationships, these whatever it happens to be that caused all the past trauma in your life, it served a purpose. It is there for a reason, and it is for you to learn and to grow from it. And if you want to be a victim of it, you will never learn and you will never grow from it. And you know those people. Now, there are people who will complain about everything, or they will talk bad about other people. What is happening when this is going on is those people are showing you their insecurities, and they're talking about, however they're speaking about other people, it's about themselves. Whatever they're saying, that these people are this way and this and this and this, they're talking about themselves. So listen carefully to what people tell you, because they are telling you through their lies that they are unaware that they're even speaking. They're telling you about themselves. So just observe and listen, and then you will know who are your people and who are not your people. So when we heal these relationships, when we can honestly look back on them and be thankful. I am so thankful. I'm so thankful for my son's father being the way that he was, and I'm so thankful that he was not present at all in his life. I'm thankful that he never paid me back. I'm thankful that he never paid me a penny, because it allowed me to know that I can do it myself, and I could do it myself. I was a child myself, providing for a child, and I was able to do it. So how powerful and how strong did that make me? Yeah, pretty powerful, pretty strong. It allowed me to know that I honestly can do anything, and that is a gift that he gave me. Now here's the thing. These people don't get away with this. If somebody has done something to us, because that was something that, essentially was done, if something has happened like this, that man at some point, although it's none of my business, is going to have to go through karma for what he did. But you know what? I honestly feel sorry for him, because he was a broken man. His own father abused him, abused his mother. He witnessed this. He's seen it. He grew up in the house, and then he was abandoned. I feel bad. I didn't back then. I feel bad. Oh, well, actually, I don't feel bad for him. I'm thankful that he went through this, because you know what? It's going to make him a strong person too, and maybe this will lead to his enlightenment at some point, when you can go from being a horrid abuser to not doing that anymore. How many people will he be able to help once he heals his trauma? Has he? No idea. Don't talk to the man. No idea. Don't really care. That's his business. But he has the opportunity to use that to benefit other people. And when you do that, you create massive change and you put goodness out in the world. I remember when I found out that I had been cheated on when I was married. And keep in mind, I was in love with my husband. And so when I found this out, I was destroyed by it. And I'm like looking up things that there has to be something that somebody can say that's going to make me feel better. And I just remember desperately looking for help, something that could help me, and I could not find a thing. I found one man on YouTube who that was his specialty, and so I'm watching his videos, but was he giving away anything? No, he wasn't giving away anything, and he was charging astronomical amounts, which I agree with. That's totally fine. You got to get paid for your work to go to him, which my ex wasn't going to give me that kind of money for me to even go and get that kind of help, so I had to do it on my own. So what have I now done? I created something that is so multifaceted that there's multiple things that you could go and you could search it up and you could get help for free. Free hypnotherapy group sessions, totally for free, because I needed that. That's what I needed. I needed something and it wasn't available. So through my own suffering, I created something that can help other people. So I can look back on this and I can be so thankful that I couldn't find a dang thing to help me in that situation. The only thing that helped me was the Christ letters, and that truly led to my enlightenment, and it really saved me. But now there is things that are available here. If you are going through something, you can check out the Mental Cleanse series. I was told it needed to be made for people, and I understand why. I see now why. At the time, I didn't realize the full benefit of it and why exactly I was doing it. I mean, I knew, but I didn't know the full extent. So these things that we go through, even the fact that I couldn't find any help, I could be a victim, and I couldn't find any help, I didn't know what to... No, this led me to be even stronger and to help other people. Every single thing, it is all your perspective, it's all how you're looking at it, it's all your view. And when you view yourself as a victim, you will get nowhere in life. And when you view yourself as a strong, powerful person who just becomes more and more strong and more powerful through every adversity that they have to go through, then you're going to become a really strong and powerful person. So when you doubt in yourself, you are doubting the divine. And the divine, I'm telling you, is perfect love, perfect wellness, perfect health, perfect everything, perfect all the things you could ever want. It provides for you everything. Absolutely. It's absolutely perfect. There's nothing lacking. There's nothing missing from it. So stop doubting in yourself and start believing in the love of the divine. And if you think, I can't, I need this much money and I can't make it on my own. How am I going to do it? You're doubting in yourself, but you're not. You're doubting in the divine. That's what you're truly doing. You are not believing that there is truly a loving, divine creator out there, a loving Father that will provide for your needs. And you say, no, it's me, I can't do it. You're right, we can't do anything. The only reason we can do anything is because of the love of the divine. And so when you shift your belief away from not believing in yourself to believing in the love of the divine, you will be provided for. Provided that you cleanse your consciousness from the past trauma that you're holding within your energetic system that is no longer benefiting you and it's keeping you on a low frequency. Get rid of it. And as you get rid of it, you uplift yourself and you just become closer in alignment with the divine love that exists within every single tiny bit of space that exists. And they call it space because the scientists don't know what it is, but what it is divine love, and it's in every cell. It's in every energetic particle. It's in every chemical compound. It is literally in every single thing that exists. Anyways, end of the talk today. Love you guys. I know I went here and there and everywhere. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. I love you guys, and I will see you all in the next one. See you guys tomorrow.